How many people that are here today going to write something to bring back November the 9th? Okay. All right, that's good. And maybe some of you all will be inspired between now and that time to do so. I want to say this, that we lost one of our poets on October the 9th, who passed away from cancer. And it was a very big blow in the Chicago poetry community and in the national community. And his poetry name was Armen. And this was a young man, well, he was 51. But when I met him, we were teenagers. We were about 15, 16 years old. And we shared so much together when we were young, but for some reason, during our adulthood years, we got kind of separated and things happened. We wasn't really speaking to each other too much. But God brought us back together around 2016. So we were able to do things together, come back together and share with each other at least for the last 6 years of his life. And I wouldn't have believed anybody if they would have told me that I would have become one of the only people from the poetry community that he spoke to and talked to during his last days to comfort him and to be there for them. So I'm going to close with this poem that I wrote for him, and I said it at his memorial service this past Saturday, and it's called Brother to Brother. I remember the early days when hip-hop birthed us, the music, the culture, the poetry. It made the hood not seem so rough. We had a lot of tough days, yet we kicked it on the block every day and played. Death was always lurking around the corner, but Mama prayed, and those prayers protected us. As a child growing up in Gresham and Inglewood, it wasn't so much expected of us. Dead or in jail by the age of 21. Growing up in the hustle, either drugs or guns, life was hard, but the goal was to beat the odds. So we wrote. See, we carried a notebook, a pen, and a pad, and although we were poor and some of us grew up in a house with no dad, at times it seemed like hip-hop was all we had. Our parents thought it was just a fad or a phase. The jogging suits, the high-top fades, the fake gold chains, the boom boxes, the superhero rap names. Break dancing on broken down cardboard boxes, it was all a part of the game. I remember one MC named MC Main. He was one of the folks from Boys Town. Known for having a wicked pen, spitting that gang-bang poetry and lyrically putting it down. I ran into that brother on Vincennes at Westcott Playground. It was a showdown in his hood on his set. What happens when an unstoppable force meets an unmovable object? Ice Cold versus MC Main. Flow for flow, blow for blow. It was more like Rakim versus Big Daddy Kane. This created a connection that would last for the next 33 years. Eventually we joined Toma Production, same music mentor, sax preacher, a man whom we both revered. I dropped my first album, Prisoners of the System, Knowledge of Self, Wisdom, and Truth. Insane MC Main dropped his first album called 357. It was a salute to our Masonic roots. And in 1990, when I started Poet, that brother was right there with me, touring schools and mentoring the youth. We've come a long way since then, from boys to men. But we were more than just friends, brothers from the same lodge. That made us more than kin. Franklin Lodge number 25. The home where we will both reside, keepers of the light, but there's darkness and ego and pride. We're both grown men with families now, doing what we got to do to provide. Chicago, South Side, doing what we got to do to survive. And in 2000, we would reconnect, but this time on the spoken word poetry scene. But still spitting dope bars, I evolved from Ice Cold to Black Ice, and Insane MC Main transformed into Armen. But relationships don't always stay the same. For some reason, we just couldn't see eye to eye. But this was my guy, my dude, the same cat that I battled at Westcott School, traveled together to the Million Man March, recorded and wrote songs together. What ripped us apart? For years, we kept our distance. And at the end of the day, it all came down to artistic differences. But fast forward to 2016. I was able to get Armen, our mentor, sax preacher, and myself all on one accord. Set our differences to the side, and I honored my brother at the first National Spoken Word Awards. Ever since then, we've made amends. And when it came to my stage and my platform, there wasn't one mic that he couldn't hold and one stage that he couldn't step on. He wrote dope lines and spit dope rhymes to the end of his days. And on October the 9th, 2022, cancer took him away. But to God be the glory. Insane MC Main, rap legend, godfather of poetry. Black Lions Theater Award recipient, slam champion, king of poetry. I'm glad that God brought us back together. And I'll cherish every phone call conversation, DM and text those last 2 weeks we shared together. Together we made history. But your job is done. You fulfilled your destiny. And I already knew what he wanted me to do, and that was to preserve his legacy. See, every once in a while, the universe produces a comet that shoots among the stars. One of the dopest MCs that have ever come out of the shy by far. Long live the spirit of my brother, Armen. That's it. You guys, thank them for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. Thank you for coming. Please come November 9th. We've just agreed that we will write something too, so there's no excuse, anybody. Everybody write something. All right? There'll be lots of tears of joy on November 9th. Thank you. Please. Thank you.
Thank you all for having us.
Come on, bring it in. Bring it in. Bring it in.
Did you do something to your hand?
It's gotta be.
Oh, okay. It's like, I should remember her. I should remember her.